Hey guys, Michael here. Real quick one, hopefully, but I wanted to share a little bit here. This is something I got about a week ago in the mail. Playing in the background is the opening track, which is called, what is it called? All Bibles, yes. This is Patches and Gretchen's sixth album. It's titled Who the Hell Is Richard Manuel? It's on Sandpaper Tongue Records, which is their own label. I got it about a week ago. It was released in 2013, and I did have a digital copy that Gretchen Seichrist had sent to me. At the time, I wasn't able to buy it, but she had given me that. But I recently ordered it back in January, and the reason I waited partly was because I wanted to get the deluxe edition, which included the CD and an individual, no two are alike, and there are 5 or 6 of them thus far made, lyric booklet. This one is tied like this, so I can hang it if I want, using string, cotton string. It says on the back of it, made for Michael Dill by Patches and Gretchen member Gretchen Seichrist, January 21st, 2014, with her signature. And it has all original artwork, unique to this book. And then the lyrics, which are simply printed off and cut out of your basic copy paper. Gretchen Seichrist is a friend of mine and somebody who I really admire and am very fond of. I've known her for a while. I'm wearing a T-shirt here of that she sent me a couple of years ago for Christmas, and Burger King. But notice the expression on it. And I just want to talk a little bit about her music, which I think can best be described as expressionist. She clearly is somebody in what you might call the outsider music camp. I'm not sure that I'd say she's playing in the key of Z, but she definitely is an interesting artist. This is her first album, Music from Little Big Pink. They're all only available as CDs, and they're all entirely independently self-released and self-distributed through CD Baby, through patchesandgretchen.com. This particular, the first album, which came out in 2008, was recorded in like a day and a half. And the way she works, she's written lyrics as poems, which she then, and she has in her mind the song, more or less, and then sits down with musicians and collaboratively they write the songs. And there's the music has changed considerably over the years. Her second album, which came out in 2010, is called Sugarhead Pie, and this costume and everything, I think, is very indicative of the kind of persona that Gretchen Seichrist uses in her performances, although it varies very much. And her performances are really a wild combination of improvisational skits, improvisational music. She quite frequently can just kind of start taking off in the middle of a song in one direction or another, leaving the band to just catch up as best they can. And her music, even in the recorded music, oftentimes has that sort of a feeling. I've written a couple of reviews about her. I wrote about these two, which were released simultaneously, I Steal Carrots and Blue Skin. This is the only album that is not available in one form or another. It's just simply gone. And Even Breaks, which these two came out in 2011. And then this album came out in the spring of 2013 with Who the Hell Is Richard Manuel coming out in the late fall, early winter. I've compared her a few times to like a Whitman, Ginsberg, Sylvia Plath. Her self-avowed love, her ultimate hero is Bob Dylan. But she doesn't really sound that much like Bob Dylan. I think she's more inspired by him indirectly in the sense of lyrics, particularly during those eras when Dylan's lyrics have been their most colorful, and the idea of lyrics being kind of preeminent, so that at times she'll just cram so many words into a line that the entire song practically collapses in disarray right there. At other times, long pauses. She's highly expressive. Expressionism is obvious, I think, in her artwork, and I think it's obvious in her music. And in that sense, there is even a little bit of a connection, almost thematically in a way, to the great expressionist composer, songwriter. I'm going blank. Probably best known for Three Penny Opera. Gretchen's music is highly personal. Another thing it shares with expressionism is that the emotion is always preeminent. Technique is never more important than the expression of feeling and of emotion. And more than once, it's been said by several critics, and she has been pretty well received critically, that her music and her albums really convey the sense that this isn't music that she makes, for money, which she's certainly not getting rich making it, I can guarantee you that, but because she absolutely has to, and that the band, which is an ever-evolving group of musicians, just always changing, share that with her, that as they're making these records, they're more almost documents of a performance in a way, although quite honestly there is a certain amount of overlay that happens within them, but even that is done with the notion of expression, and it's never to let's correct that, that was a little off key. Gretchen, frequently her voice will go completely off key as she sings, And often when she sings, there are certain techniques that singers use, and they're taught to sing from deep within, and really open out. And Gretchen sings from up here, and it conveys this very anxiety-ridden kind of voice. And can you hear that in the background? This is the song "Who the Hell Is Richard Manuel." I absolutely love this stuff. She uses comedy at times, and that has been kind of emphasized a little bit from time to time. It's been talked about that she is Amy Mann's half-sister. Amy Mann is some years older. They actually were not raised together. Interestingly enough, they have the same mother, but they did not meet until later in their life. Gretchen wrote the lyrics to the song Medicine Wheel, which is on Amy Mann's album from 2008. I think it's called Fucking Smilers, or that's kind of how I interpret all of the blurts that normally would be, we'd be put into a title or in place of an obscenity. And she's open for Amy Mann, and she's had a lot of people play with her too, by the way. Scarlett Rivera most notably comes to my mind immediately, who is a violinist, fiddle player, has played on a couple of Bob Dylan albums and toured with Bob Dylan in the Rolling Thunder Review. She has had a special feature in a program called Minnesota Originals on Minnesota Public Television, and I'll try to put some links down there so that you can see a little bit of her. She's very colorful, but she's also an incredibly sensitive person. She's an activist. She's a visual artist, a painter primarily, something of a sculptor, working in a media in a style that sort of combines at times folk art notions, expressionism, and what I would consider almost art brut. Oftentimes using whatever materials happen to be at hand at the moment of inspiration. Fortunately, for me, at times what happens to be at hand is musical instruments and musicians, because I truly love her music. I might go 3 or 4 months without playing her albums, and then something will cause me to listen to one or a song, and the next thing I know, I'm caught up again in listening to all of this stuff. When I wrote my reviews about her, I very painstakingly transcribed many lyrics from many songs. These 2 albums I transcribed in their entirety. The lyrics are printed in here, but I can't read them. I don't think their bifocals powerful enough to help me read those. And then this one I did a lot of transcribing on. And several songs on this. There's a song on here called Wanda that to this day is one of my favorite songs, and it tells the story of 2 girls who are kind of on the lam. They've run away. Not clear where from, but you kind of get the picture that they've run away from some kind of girls' detention center, and eventually are caught. But only at the very end of the song do you realize that Wanda is 13 years old. They're very young, and yet so it's just a really heartbreaking, wrenching song. One of the most original love songs I've ever heard in my life, Dumb in the Dark. The song My Airplane, which sort of it doesn't tell a story as much as it just gives you this vignette of this rather angry, bitter, and abusive relationship. Give me back my airplane, you don't know how to use it, and you're gonna fucking break it the way you fling it around. It's just really, really powerful stuff. And all of her songs, all of her albums have that kind of thing in them. Just these really, really startling images and stories that clearly are drawn from life. The kind of detail and particular qualities that there are to them tell you right away that this is not your some people sit down and they go, well, I'm going to write a song about love, and they really don't draw their own personal experience isn't in it at all. And you can kind of feel that in pop songs that are written that way quite often, I think. Well, this isn't pop music, although at times it refers to pop music. At times you'll get bits of R&B. I'm thinking particularly right on this song, That's Not News, has this kind of a strutting boom, boo-doo-doo-doo, boom, kind of a thing that opens it up after you hear one of those noisemakers that, And in it, she, for example, in one of the songs, she opens up, she says, well, pretty soon it's going to be too cold for me to smoke out on the balcony away from the kids. And talks about how she's sort of waiting to be driven to the knees of her integrity by circumstances, which is, a very specific way of illustrating something that I've come to believe about human nature. Somebody once said that the nature of human beings is to remain inert until they become so uncomfortable that they have to change, and then only change so much as to relieve the discomfort. And I think that's a beautiful, there's a song on here, So Take That. It's not always clear whether they are autobiographical or whether the songs are written about people she knows or people she's observed and then made up a story about. But the gritty truth of life, and particularly what I would guess I would think of as street life, definitely makes its way into her music. I would absolutely be thrilled if even one person watched this and was intrigued enough to go to her website, check her out further, and maybe become a fellow fan. That would just thrill me. If 100 people view this and one person really says, yeah, I get it, that would make me very, very happy indeed. Check her out. Gretchen Seichrist, Patches and Gretchen. A beautiful woman with a beautiful soul, who is not afraid to expose all of it, even the damaged parts, and in such a way that I really believe. One critic recently wrote, it's on the CD Baby website, about the album Who the Hell Is Richard Manuel, and he said the words harrowing and uneasy listening come to his mind right away. And later on he mentions, and it's kind of like he says, you always have the feeling the Patches and Gretchen are holding back just a little, and that it's a good thing that they do, that's better for you. Like they're pointing a gun at you, but they have the safety on. Is one of the things he says. And I would agree with that. But I would also say that ultimately her appeal and what she's moving toward is to awaken your sense of empathy and humanity. And in that sense, healing, I think, is just as important as any other aspect of her music. And that's the part that I think people kind of tend to overlook. It's not something that you listen to once and you've heard it. It's the kind of thing that you have to listen to many times and really delve into. It's maybe that's all I'm going to say about it. Get into it. Check it out. You might find her a fascinating, as I do, and very moving artist.